There are a percentage of Black women who are extremely career driven, and their identity or their sense of purpose is so heavily dictated by their career, and that could be stemming from their background with having an absent father or just having negative relationships with men in general. So I think that this obsession with being a boss, choosing a career over children or love or whatever type of happiness, whatever makes you happy, choosing your career over that is a way of showing the world and yourself subconsciously that you are good enough and you didn't deserve to be treated the way that you did from other people. Despite what they display to society, they might feel lonely or dissatisfied in life. So they use their careers to overcompensate for that void. And disclaimer. So what about those women? Those are the women that I'm interested in learning more about. The women who are like me. It's so crazy because like my entire life, I've always been really intelligent, right? Advanced classes, dean's list in college. I never really understood why my education motivated me so much. Now I realize that the accolades that I got for doing so well in school and just trying to better myself, that made me feel good. It made me feel like I had purpose. And now I realize that there's a connection between me being so fixated on excelling in school and me trying to prove that I am good enough. You know, me and my dad had a really rocky background, but it wasn't my fault because I know I'm dope, and I'm dope because all these things show it. And once I graduated from college and began my career, all of my value then got shifted to excelling in my career. Unfortunately, society kind of pigeonholes Black women as being modern women, and we know that that term has a negative connotation. Only caring about having degrees and wanting a luxury lifestyle, very cold, masculine, not needing men, not appreciative of men. But I think that for a lot of women, it's a lot deeper than that. You know, a lot of Black women are holding on to hurt that stems from broken family dynamics or failed relationships or a combination of all of that. We are very complex, and I don't think that we really acknowledge how our individual experiences collectively have such a huge impact on our lives later on.
Iyanla Vanzant once said that Black women are out of order. For the next couple of videos, I want to unpack some examples of this. Shout out to everyone who responded in the YouTube community tab when I asked why Black women excel at education and career and fail at love. Many Black women are uncovered. In some cases, this is by choice. This often leads to a myriad of behaviors that many of us want to ignore. I want to first address how speaking up about Black women has put me in a unique situation within the Black Sisterhood. Now, some of you may be wondering, what is nigga talking about? Who's the sisterhood? And the sisterhood would just be Black women at large, most Black women. And if you want to get more specific, I would say the Black women who kind of go with the status quo, don't really challenge the status quo very often. You could even say, if you look at what the typical Black woman looks like, what her attitude is like, that would be part of the sisterhood. And for so many years, I wanted to be part of the sisterhood. I didn't want to be off code, you know? I didn't want to necessarily stand out. And so to do that, I didn't really ask questions. And so, sorry, I'm going up a hill. Going up a hill now. I've always been pro-Black, and I've always questioned, how is it that I'm pro-Black, but I don't agree with a lot of the things that Black people do, or a lot of the things that I see going on in the Black community? I don't agree with it, but I'm pro-Black. Am I? And even when it came to like Black women, I'm gonna show you the beautiful colors behind me real quick. Even when it came, I don't know if you can see that. Even when it came to Black women, I remember someone had asked me, you know, my thoughts about Black women. And at that time, this was years ago, I didn't really know how to express myself because although I love Black women, I obviously am one. I didn't know how to say that I love Black women and I love Black people, but I also have my criticisms. I didn't know if there was a word to describe this. And that is kind of where I've landed on my YouTube channel, is essentially my stance may not be the stance that most Black women might take. I might make videos about Beyonce and critique Beyonce, but I am essentially doing what I've always wanted to do. I'm leaning more into, you know, my real thoughts, my real emotions, and not necessarily going with the status quo. And I want to talk about how this decision to do this, I mean, this is all going to lead into an update about my business program, but this decision to take this stance, how it could potentially put me out of the good graces of the sisterhood. And you might ask, well, Nako, why does that matter? Well, it may not matter. It probably doesn't. But it's just like a realization that happens as an entrepreneur. You guys see my channel has grown. And you always think about the audience that you have in your head. And then the reality that a lot of business owners come into is that the audience in their head, the audience that they thought they would have, who they thought was their target audience, is not. It's not their target audience. And you learn that your audience is someone totally different. And in my case, it would be Black men. Now, for a lot of Black women, they see that as a red flag. The fact that I have a lot of men in my comment sections, the fact that a lot of men like my content, for some women, this is problematic because to them it appears as though I am, you know, I don't know, an anti-feminist, or I am pandering to men, or doing something that is off code. So that is one of the ways that, you know, I feel like the sisterhood, you know, either has abandoned me or will abandon me. Or that is one of the ways that I set myself apart. And I'm not saying this is bad, but again, I am coming to terms with my position on YouTube as well as in the real world. And the more I lean into that, you know, I have a mentor who's amazing. He's a Black man. And he's teaching me about just leaning into my authentic self. And that is essentially what you have to do to be successful on YouTube anyway. And to be successful in life, I would argue. But I want to talk about two, see the beautiful colors there? I want to talk about two different ways that I feel like the sisterhood, two different differences between me and the sisterhood. And, you know, so one of the things that I've always struggled with is I've struggled with regard to feminism is the ways in which women, in this case we'll talk about Black women, would be feminist in the streets, and then the whole, you know, secret is that you're like a pick-me in the sheets. And there's actually a phrase that I once heard and have repeated this on my YouTube channel earlier, about a year ago. It goes, feminist in the street, pick me in the sheets. Feminist in the streets, pick me in the sheets. Now, I think we can all understand the sort of the concept of that. And I think many women of other races, other cultures adopt this. But what you have to ask yourself is, if we are secretly non-feminist, like if we go home and we can't, you know, take any of the feminist theory and none of that is useful in our homes, which I agree it's really not, is it fair to say that we're feminist? So I feel like a lot of women are out here calling themselves feminist and they're not. And that's okay. Like, you don't have to be a feminist, but going back to, like I said, for so many years, I struggled. A lot of that had to do with the things that I didn't agree with, that I just went along with, but it never really made sense. Because the reality is, like, in the streets, if you are a feminist and you go home and you take that off, that's fine. But I don't necessarily think that you should be parading yourself around as a feminist. Another example, these same feminist black women will, again, indulge in all of this feminist theory and, you know, be all super radical. But then, like, they'll go to a club and a guy will smack them on their behind and they'll laugh, or they will smile, or they will engage with that type of thing. But then they'll, you know, or a song comes on that's completely misogynistic and they will dance to the song. Again, I have no problem. I might be one of those women dancing, but am I still gonna go out here with my fist in the air and say I'm a feminist? Probably not, right? So, so these are some of the things. And again, it's so funny how I have a public YouTube channel, and when I'm out and I'm filming, I want to be private. That's so weird. So right now, if you see me getting quiet, it's because somebody's coming. But it's like this person can clearly go on my YouTube channel and, like, see what I'm talking about. I'm crazy. I have issues. So that's one of my issues. Okay. And again, I don't have an issue. It's just the fact that, why are we trying to act like we are something we're not? If you like the guy grabbing your behind who doesn't know you, that's fine. But again, don't play both sides. And what it does when women play both sides and they try to act super independent in public and like they don't need a man in public, is that it sort of influences other women to think that they're doing that all the time, and they're not. And this was the basis of my video about Beyonce. You know, I don't have an issue with Beyonce. I do have an issue with Beyonce saying she's a feminist if that's not who she is all the time.
All right, so I'm popping in to say that this is a bit contradictory. I actually think that most black women play both sides, myself included. And I assert that this is actually a problem. So stay tuned for a future video very soon where I will be unpacking this.
Okay, you want to talk about rights? You want to talk about women's rights? You want to talk about equality? Well, why is it when you turn 40 and 45 as a woman, all of a sudden you don't want to work anymore? I don't hear men having those same complaints. And you don't want to work anymore because you're tired. And you're tired probably because you're, you know, a woman and you have all of these other ailments and things happening, and it's okay. But that's my issue, is you have women out here saying, well, you know, we're equal, we need to have equal things as men, equal opportunities. Okay, fine, but can you handle those equal opportunities? If those equal opportunities, if and when these equal opportunities are given to you, can you handle it? And I think women have proved that they cannot. Many women, I'm not going to say all women, a lot of women have proved that they cannot handle the equal opportunities, right? Because as I shared on a previous video, there's a whole niche, YouTube niche of black women who are exhausted. And they're exhausted because of work and you know, climbing the corporate ladder and whatever it is they were doing. And they literally are withdrawing their, you know, their entire savings and 401k or whatever they need to do to leave the country to relax. Okay. So understand, these are the same women who are calling themselves feminist, saying they're feminist, and then also at the same time saying, you know, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I need a 2-3 years off of work. I say that I'm a feminist critic. You know, I'm not an anti-feminist. I don't know if I don't really consider myself a feminist either. But I do like to critique it. And that is essentially what I have been doing. Which, you know, I think certain aspects of that might upset the sisterhood. So comment below, let me know what you think. You guys, the poll that I'm reading sounds like many of you are not interested in the membership. So thank you for answering all of the polls. If you answered a poll in the YouTube community, it seems like some folks, a lot of people are interested in me doing a weekly show with guests every week. So that's good. And that is in the works. As far as the YouTube membership, I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that would be a membership club if I end up doing that. And it would, let me know, comment and let me know what you would be interested in if I did do a membership club. Right now I'm thinking of like behind the scenes, not just behind the scenes of my videos, but also just kind of like a lot that I'm learning as far as the business side of YouTube. A lot of things like what content creators typically don't share. And if you guys have questions, so right now the membership that I have in my head, I'm just thinking of ways that I can expose. Some of you may want to know about like monetization. Yeah, so, but if you are interested in YouTube, joining my YouTube membership club, let me know what you would want to see. And I'm curious if you would join. But thank you all for completing the poll and survey and anything else I've asked of you. Thank you for getting that to me. So like, share, and subscribe. Click the links in the description box. Get to know my business, Curated Legacy LLC. Coaching and consulting. That's what I do. And I'm going to be inserting a clip actually about, I told you guys I would update you on what I'm learning actually in my business program. I'm learning a lot. I have a great mentor. It's a great group of people. I didn't tell you guys that this is actually a pitch competition. So that is actually what, let me give you that view. That's actually what I signed up for, is a pitch competition. Let's see if you can see a little color here. Pitch competition. So kind of like Shark Tank, but only at a much lower level, not as much money, but I'll be competing against 40 different businesses, I believe. And again, it is to win, I think $10,000, but still, I'm going to try my best. So that is actually what I'm doing. But so I'm learning how to pitch, and also just learning a lot of different things about business, which I'll be sharing more conclusions I'm coming to and things that I'm realizing. And I'll try to remember to keep you guys updated on my progress in the program. Like, share, and subscribe. Click the links in the description box. Get to know what I do with my coaching and consulting business, Curated Legacy LLC. If you need a speaker for your event, call your girl. I would love to come speak at your event. What else? I have a book on Amazon about being an invisible Black woman. I also have a book of my mom on Amazon, the children's book about schizophrenia. I don't know, I feel like there's other things. Stay tuned for a possible YouTube membership club. Stay tuned for interviews next year. That won't be until next year, the interviews, the weekly show. Merch, that won't be until next year. I have a lot of work to do, you guys. But right now I'm just a one-woman show. I'm doing everything on my own. I don't even use ChatGPT. Coming up with all my own thumbnails, all my own titles. Everything is coming from me, from my own brain. And so, but at some point I will probably have to get some help. So please get on my email list. I haven't sent out my newsletter yet, but if you click the link in the description box, you can get on my email list. If you feel compelled, donate to my channel via Super Thanks, via Cash App. And as always, stay tuned for more videos. Trying not to fall, I'm going down a hill. Bye.